What is happening, everybody? This is Cody, aka DFS Prodigy, coming to you live talking about this upcoming DraftKings UFC 277 slate. Before we begin, like button for me, definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel. As many times you all know, we're breaking down this UFC 277 card out in Dallas, Texas, my hometown. I wish I could go, but I have other plans. But we have a good fight card. This is 13 fights. Let's hope they all stay together. We know how UFC goes. Sometimes they're staying, sometimes they don't. We just never really know, especially with weigh-ins not happening yet. But DraftKings finally put up this slate. We have it up. I'm ready to break this down. You'll be able to check out my article breakdown on We Want the Picks. So definitely go check that out. I'll be hanging out in the DraftKings room right after this. But like I said, let's just kick it off. Let's start with the very first fight in Oron Kosi versus Blood Diamond. So Blood Diamond 7-4, Kosi's 8-8. This is a great first fight. Both fighters are coming off losses. Blood Diamond, though, it's just super hard to trust. We know how he looked against Jeremiah Wells. It wasn't a good sight to see. It's just the takedown defense is what worries me, especially with Oron, who is decent on the ground. I know the striking defense doesn't look great for Oron, but I just don't think Blood Diamond will be able to capitalize on that. I like Oron a ton at 8-8. I think he's a good mid-range option, especially coming in low ownership, because people aren't going to want to go to this very first fight, especially given it's the first one. But I do like Oron here. I think he takes this fight against Blood Diamond. But let's move on to the next fight in Nuran Nurmagomedov versus Io Peteria. Nurmagomedov 7-8. Oh, gosh. This is an interesting fight. We saw him versus Kennedy, kind of the same price tag. He paid it off against Ike Villanueva. He paid it off against Kamir. It's just, what are we going to get out of Nick Nurmagomedov? Ior, we know what's been going on with him. He's been kind of all over the place. This is a great fight, though. Ior, we know he's from Ukraine. We know it's been going on over there. It's been it's a sad sight to see what's happening in Ukraine. We know how this has been affecting players, especially in the tennis atmosphere. If you're all familiar with that, it's been kind of either a confidence booster or just mentally not ready. That's the only problem. It's just Eeyore is so hard to trust. We don't know what he's been doing lately. Nick Nurmagomedov, we know he's been fighting. We know he's been in the cage. I just like Nick. It's just, I know this is a hard trust. I know this is a hard fight to trust, but I'm taking Nick here. I like what I see out of him. I like the striking that Nick Nurmagomedov brings to the table, especially when we look at his recent wins. I trust Nick more than Eeyore, which is something I thought I would never say. But at 7-8, he's becoming a kind of a mid-range option I'd like to see. Moving on to the next fight in Ji-Yeon Kim versus Jocelyn Edwards. This is going to be a GPP fight written all over it, especially with 7-9 and 8-3. Kim, she's on a 3-fight losing streak. That's the problem. But look who she fought. She fought Molly McCann. We know what Molly McCann just put up. Cachero, we know what she's been up to. And then Grasso, it's been a tough road to follow. But Jocelyn Edwards, what are we going to get out of Jocelyn Edwards? We really don't know. She had a good fight against Pasquale, but didn't really go for the takedowns. She just stood on the feet. That's the thing, is the takedown defense is what worries me against Edwards. If Kim can implement the game plan of let's go shoot for the takedown, shoot for the grappling, that's what I want to see out of her. She's better on the feet. I believe Kim is. I like Kim at 7-9. I think this is who I'm picking to win. Moving on to Forget versus Marlon Morales. I do not trust Adam Forget whatsoever, especially at 6-7. I know that's a good price tag, but I do not trust him. Forget is coming off of a win in LFA. Michael Morales, he's been on fire. He looked good against Scales. I think he takes in this fight. I think he's better on the feet. I think the grappling is underrated, especially for an Ecuadorian fighter. The grappling, he's been working on that a ton. At 9-5, I think this is going to be a quick fight. I think we can definitely capitalize on the 9-5 price tag. Going to the next fight, Rafael Garcia versus Dakar Close. This is the interesting price tags. I didn't think there would be this big of a gap between the price tags, personally. I thought it was going to be around the 8s. I didn't imagine Dakar Close being 9-1 and Rafael Garcia at 7-1. I do think Close wins this fight, but a 9-1, that's a little worrisome for me. For a punt value, I wouldn't mind going to Garcia, but then again, watch the cardio, watch the grappling with the takedown defense. We know Close is going to implement those calf kicks and then want to stay on the feet. My main concern is, like I said, the cardio who Garcia has fought compared to Close. It's just I do not trust the 9-1 price tag for the card Close, which is, I'm just kind of chalking this up as a fade for me. Dontel Mazo at 8.5 is somebody that I'm locking and loading. I love Dontel Mazo at 8.5, especially against Hondi. I'm not going to attempt to say last name. Again, I don't want to mess it up and then offend everybody, but I like Dontel Mays here. I think Dontel Mays handles this fight. We know what we're going to get out of him. Again, I know it's hard to say, oh, I love Dontel Mays based on how he's been looking, but again, in this fight, I love it. Hannity, he's not fought barely anybody close to UFC caliber. Again, all he has is the wrestling. I don't like it. I don't like Hannity here. I know he's the first Egyptian fighter in the cage, which is props to him, but I just don't think this fight is his. I think I'm rather just going to Dontel Mays to handle this fight with ease. I think Mays goes in and handles business. Moving on to the next fight, we have Drew Dober versus Rafael Alvias. Drew Dober 9,000, Alvias 7.2. This is a bad fight. Alvias, he has a good game all around. I don't mind him as a punt at 7.2 either. But Drew Dober with the chin, we know what we're going to get out of it. He's an amazing chin. I know it didn't look good against Terrence McKinney. Terrence McKinney was on a run that was unbelievable. I like Drew Dober here at 9,000. I don't like him a ton, but overall, from a betting perspective, I do like Drew Dober. I think Drew Dober takes care of this fight. I think the cardio over Alvias shows. I think if he goes past round 1, this is Drew Dober's fight to win. Let's move on to a different fight in Matthew Silversberger versus Alex Moreno. 8-6 for Matthew Silversberger. So I'm locking and loading Matthew Silversberger. I think this is going to be a great fight. Silversberger has the power on the feet. I think he's the quick and volume to handle this fight. Moreno, it's just look who Moreno's fought. Mickey Gall, which we know how Mickey Gall was. Zawada, not an impressive fight. Donald Cerrone, not an impressive fight. He lost to Anthony Pettis. I mean, Chaos Williams knocked him out. And that should tell you what I'm looking at. Is in the knockout loss, that's what I'm basing this off of. Is Silversberger, I think, can get a knockout. I think he can clip him. At 86, I love to capitalize on that price tag, and that's where I'm kind of leaning towards. So Anthony Smith versus Magomed Ankalaev. I think this fight is going to go 3 rounds. Hot take. I don't think there's going to be a finish here. I think this is going to go to the judges. So, again, if you want to be different, if you want to be completely different on ownership-wise, go lock in Anthony Smith. I know this is a scary sight. I know this is not the ideal fight, but again, if you want to be different, if you want to try to take down the 200K to first, you're going to want to be different somewhere, and this is where you would be different, is locking and loading Anthony Smith at 6'8", because you know everybody is going to want to play Anthony Ankalaev. We know this. We know how this goes. Ankalaev, we know we're going to get out of him. He's been on a winning streak. He's been beating everybody. But the past 3 fights have been decisions. That's what worries me, especially at the 9-1 price tag. We need somebody that's going to get a finish. I don't think Ankalaev gets the finish. I think Anthony Smith, I think he's the caliber to hang in this fight. He beat Ryan Spawn, Clark, Crew. We know what we saw. So with Lionheart, again, if you want to be different, lock and load Anthony Smith. Ankalaev, I think, wins this with ease. I think he handles this fight. And it's hard not to trust Anthony Smith, but again, this is Ankalaev here, the prodigy son, the prodigal son. So that's kind of where I'm looking. But let's go to Alexandra Pantoja versus Alex Perez. What worries me is the layoff of Alex Perez. Look how long it's been since 2020 when he lost the belt, or he lost the championship fight. 7-5. That's hard to trust. I don't trust a guy who hasn't been in the cage. Hasn't been in the cage in a while. I like Pantoja here, 8-7. I think he handles this fight, and we saw him against Brandon Royval. I like what I've seen out of him. The volume's there for him. The quick feet is there for him. I think he just goes in and handles business. I think he pushes the pace of this fight. That's what I'm liking out of him. That's what I like to see out of Pantoja. So, moving on to the next fight, Derek Lewis versus Sergey Pavlovich. This is what tells you has GPP written all over it. 8-2 for Pavlovich. Derek Lewis, 8,000. Which side do you want? That's going to be the big question mark. This is a heavyweight fight. We know how it goes in heavyweights. Are we going to get the Derek Lewis stuff? He's going to go and push the pace and want to win this fight with highly touted confidence, or are we going to go with Derek Lewis, who is kind of uneasy on the feet? Sergey Pavlovich, we know he fights once a year. We know how this goes with him. It's just which version of Derek Lewis are we going to get? That's the biggest question mark. Pavlovich, he's a striker. He has the power behind his shots. We know he can clip Derek Lewis. We know Derek Lewis on the opposite end, though, can easily clip anybody that he wants to. This fight is going to be interesting for me. I'm just leaning towards Pavlovich to get the knockout, dude. That's where I'm kind of looking at. I know it's scary. I know it's Derek Lewis, but I think Derek Lewis is going to be startled. So, and then Kai Kara France versus Brandon Moreno at 8-9. So this is a flyweight match. I think France, he's been the better fighter. He's been a better fighter than he has recently. Kai Kara France, we know what to expect out of him. He's looked good on the feet. He looked good against Cody Garbrandt. We saw that fight with the KO. I just don't think he KOs Brandon Moreno, which is what scares me. I think Brandon Moreno wins this fight. I think this goes to the judges, but we know with Brandon Moreno, he can easily get the sub and pull off that price tag 8-9. So I don't mind going to him at 8-9. It's just I'd rather go elsewhere. But then Menem Nunes versus Juliana Pena. So hear me out. Juliana Pena has the game plan to win this fight. At 7,000, you're giving me the recent winner of this fight, and you're giving me the girl who just beat Amanda Nunes already once at 7,000. I love that price tag. I'm locking Juliana Pena. She knows how to beat Nunes. I don't think Nunes heads really into this fight, especially with going to the new gym, being with her wife, having a baby. I just don't think her mind is ready for this fight. I think Pena, he has a championship mentality right now. So that's kind of where I'm going. That's my core four for this fight card for UFC 277. That leaves the 8,600 left over. So that was this fight card for us, guys. Thank you for tuning in. It's a great safe rest of the night. Have a good one, everybody.